All right, welcome to the first House session of the 17th Congress of the United States. I'm Speaker John Rivetti, and I hereby call to order this session. Would any representative like to lead the chamber in the pledge? No? Could everybody please stand? Recite the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Would any representative like to lead us to a moment of silence and prayer? No? With that being said, everybody please hold a 15-second moment of silence for religious prayers and for those suffering in Florida and all over the world for any natural disasters or just known criminal activity. Alright, thank you. Would the clerk please call the... Hey, Terrence. You want to call the roll?
Is it just me or can I not hear him?
I can't hear him. Alright. I'll just call the roll in this instance. Mavis Vermillion.
Here.
Alright, John Rivetti, I'm here. Ryan R. Sawyer. Ryan R. Sawyer is here. Pi Guy 0817 will be voting via proxy. Zeprise.
Here.
XX Anubis XX.
Here.
Nicholas Dempsey will be voting via proxy. Andre Royce.
Present.
Timothy R. Underwood. He is absent. RMP FIFF will be voting via proxy. David Harkin. David Harkin is absent. Ryan Mulroney.
Present.
Okay, and Alexi.
Here.
Alright. A quorum has been established, and we will move on to the approval of the agenda. Has every representative took time to read the agenda? Yes, okay. Anybody like to make any amendments at this time? No, with that being said, we'll move on to approving the agenda.
I accidentally muted myself, Mr. Speaker. I proposed an amendment, actually.
Yes?
To the first item on the agenda. I'd like to amend section 3 seats.
Alright, you want to propose an amendment to a item on the agenda?
Yes.
Alright, we'll do that when we get to the item. This is for amendments to the agenda.
No, sorry.
It's okay. With no representative forward, we'll move on to the vote. Terrence Walsh, are you available now? He's muted. Yeah, can you call the roll?
I don't have the agenda in front of me. Hold on. I didn't know I was doing that, but hold on. Well, here, I'll just look off the list here. Representative Sawyer. Oh, are you voting in game? I forgot.
He's voting in game. He's the only one.
Okay.
He said aye.
Representative Lexi.
Nay.
Representative Morlany.
Aye.
Representative Royce.
Aye.
Representative Vermillion.
Aye.
Representative Surprise.
Aye.
Okay.
Terrence, can I request
Do what?
after that? Can I request a 4 after this?
That's up to Rivetti. Representative Ravetti
Aye.
and Representative Anubis.
Aye.
I believe that passes.
Alright, with 8 in favor, 1 against, 3 abstentions to the proxies, and 1 absent, the agenda has passed. We will now move on to... we will now move on to item 1 of the agenda, HJ Res 1701. The floor is now open for debate.
I'd like to request the floor.
I'd like to.
Who's that?
I'd like to propose an amendment to the current
It
bill.
was Anubis.
Anubis? Yep, Anubis, you may have the floor.
To reconsider.
So, there.
Just a quick reminder, if you're speaking, go up to
the
the
debate,
podium and game.
Date will be as it is. There's no set date, and I think it should be amended to the end of this term. That ties into the next term. That will be effective. Or I yield.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like
Alright.
to propose an amendment.
Anubis, you wanted to propose an amendment so it takes place at the end of this term. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Alright, does anybody second Anubis' motion to propose an amendment?
Oh, Lexi, there was no
I
either one.
second.
We were
You second?
on the agenda.
With a second, we will now vote on Anubis' amendment. Anubis, can you just clarify that again so the whole chamber may hear?
After this, if this is to be amended, the amendment is to be amended, or the amending amendment is to be amended to where it be effective after this current term.
Where would you like that placed? Under the Establishment Clause in Section 7?
Yes.
Like right under it? Okay.
Yes.
Alright, with that, we'll now move on to voting. Terrence Walsh.
Alright.
Call the roll.
I will now call the roll to vote on the amendment, to amend the amendment, so we can amendment. Representative Vermillion.
Aye.
Representative Ravetti.
Aye.
Representative Sawyer.
He's voting in game. He said aye.
Oh, Ravetti, I thought we were voting on an amendment to the amendment. You're
What?
marking it down in the agenda.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Representative Surprise.
Aye.
Representative Anubis.
Aye.
Representative Royce.
Aye.
Representative Harkin. Why does it say who's Representative Harkin on the agenda? Has
He's an absentee.
this sheet even been updated? Because it says there's 13 members of the House.
He's
No, there is. There's 2 vacancies.
Well, that was quick.
Yep.
So who's Harkin?
wait. Which was the Democrat to resign?
Hold on, let's chill for a second. Who is Harkin, by the way?
David Harkin, he's a Democrat.
Is he currently here?
No.
It says he's present.
Alright, someone's left.
Mark him as partial or something.
Yep.
Representative Mulroney.
Abstain.
Representative Lexi.
Aye.
Alright, I think that passes.
Alright, so the amendment has passed.
I'd
the
like to
chamber.
motion an amendment to the thing.
Alright.
Bill.
Mavis, can you... Alright, anybody second Mavis's motion?
I'm sorry.
Alright, Mavis, state your amendment.
I'd like to decrease the amount needed to. I'd like to decrease the amount of members needed to 450, and all increases must be made where the only odd increases are allowed. So only when the seats, when the seat count that only the House seats can only be odd
Oh, Jesus
if
Christ.
increased.
Oh, fucking.
Alright, the second to that amendment, we will move on to a vote. Terrence Walsh.
I motion to allow Colton on the floor.
Net.
We're already moved on
All
to a
right,
vote.
we're calling roll on an amendment.
Yep.
Representative Vermillion,
Aye.
Ravetti,
Proudly state nay.
Sawyer.
Aye.
It was an I believe. Surprise.
Nay.
Anubis.
Is this on the amendment that Mavis proposed?
Correct.
Yeah. It's on the
Nay.
Alright.
Royce.
Nay.
Mulroney.
Nay.
Lexi.
And can I motion it again?
The amendment. Oh, what do you want to do, Alexi?
I'm motioning Colton on the floor.
Alright, do I hear a second?
Oh my god.
Is there
I
a
should
second?
move on to voting for it. On it.
Alright, I'm going to
second
second
Anubis'
Alexi's
motion.
motion.
Well, there wasn't a second, so we should just move on to a vote.
Okay, so Anubis' motion to move on to a vote, and alright, we're here. So, okay, Terrence, call the vote.
Vermillion.
Nay.
Ravetti.
Aye.
Sawyer.
Abstain.
Surprise.
Nay.
Anubis.
This is on the
This
It's
is
on the bill.
The whole shabooty.
I.
Royce.
Aye.
And Mulroney.
Nay.
And Lexi.
Nay.
Okay, the bill
Failure.
amendment has failed the House 6-4 to 1. Okay, so it requires 2/3. We will now move on to HJ Res 1702. Now open the debate.
Wait. Why does it say that? It says requires majority vote. Shouldn't it be requires 2/3 since it's an HJ Res?
It is.
Okay, just making sure.
Mr.
Anybody?
Speaker, I'd like to request the floor.
Who is that?
Me, Mulroney.
Alright, do I hear a second?
Wait, what is his motion?
I requested the floor to speak. on
Yeah, there you go.
legislation.
Alright, go ahead. You can have.
Okay, thank you. I'd just like to begin by saying that this piece of legislation is necessary. For too long, an overseer has been able to make rulings without a proper check on their power, and I think this bill will go a long way in ensuring that the American people will never be victimized by any current or future overseer. I yield the remainder of my time.
Okay.
My motion to proceed to the voting.
I second.
Alright, with the motion to proceed, we will now move on to a vote of HJ Res 702. Terrence Walsh called the.
Vermillion.
Abstain, sorry.
Ravetti.
Aye.
Sawyer.
Aye.
Surprise.
I.
Anubis.
I.
Royce.
Aye.
Mulroney.
Aye.
And Lexi.
A.
And that's a passage.
Alright, with 9 in favor, 1 against, and 1 abstention, the vote passes. Alright, we'll now move on to HR 1703. Floor is now open for debate.
My
Alright,
motion to proceed, sorry.
I request the floor.
alright, yeah.
One moment. Sorry about that. My fellow representatives, I urge you all to pass this bill as our nation currently lacks the means of freedom of press, which is an essential to the United States' principles. With that being said, this bill would allow for the press to openly not express their sources unless they're absolutely needed to. This would protect the press in many ways, and I urge you all to support this bill. I yield the remaining of my time.
I'd like to request the floor, Mr. Speaker.
Alright, Mavis, you have the floor.
This bill does not only do what Representative Royce says it does, it also protects people who want to stay anonymous and encourages people to go to news organizations with information that could be important to the rest of the public. And that's why I urge all of my representatives on not only the Democratic, but the Unity and Republican side to vote aye on this legislation. I yield the floor.
I request the floor.
You have the floor.
I would like to point out, look at those sponsors though. There's a lot. I yield.
Alright. Anybody else? Alright, with that, we're gonna move on to a vote on HR 1703. Terrence, call the roll.
Vermillion.
Aye.
Ravetti.
Raul, state aye.
Sawyer.
Aye.
Surprise.
Aye.
Anubis.
Aye.
Royce.
Aye.
Mulroney.
Aye.
Lexi.
Abstain.
Okay. With 10 ayes, 0 nays, and 1 abstention, the vote has passed. We'll now move on to closing statements. This has been a session.
I'd like to request the floor, Mr. Speaker.
Alright, Mavis, you have the floor.
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone who came here to this first session of the 17th Congress. I believe we did a lot today. First of all, we established freedom of press rules that allow people to share information they know and with news organizations, which allows the American people to be more informed and make an informed decision. I'd also like the Democratic National Committee for letting me stand with you and helping me become the first, the most senior member of this House. And I'd like to thank Mr. Leader Sawyer for giving me the opportunity to serve as House Whip once again. And I'd like to thank Mr. Speaker Ravetti for serving us once more in this House. Thank you. I yield the floor.
I request the floor.
You have the floor.
I would like to reiterate what you said. We did get a lot done this first session, and it was pretty quick. That means we are working well together, and we are getting things done with bipartisanship, and I like to see that. I like to see a variation in Republicans and Democrats and unity parties inside the House, because I love working with other people and bipartisanship. And this has been a message brought to you by Anubis. And I yield the floor.
Mr. President.
What was that, Zipris?
Nothing. I didn't say anything.
Alright. Alright, with that being said, we'll move on to adjournment. Terrence, call the roll.
Oh, fuck, I lost the agenda. Hold on, I'll just do this. Sawyer.
Aye.
Gotta let that one marinate. Lexi.
Yeah. Aye.
Mulroney.
Aye.
Royce.
Aye.
Vermillion.
Aye.
Surprise.
Aye.
Fuck. Am I the only one hearing that?
Yeah, I'm hearing
Nope, I heard it.
I'm hearing that.
I just-
There's an
What
exploder.
the fuck? Dude, I thought that was like some like ad.
No,
like-
that
it's
was
like-
Rosie.
it's like
That was
playing-
Rosie.
I heard Pumped Up Kicks. Was that the...
Yeah.
Yeah, Rosie
I
started
thought was
playing
some
it.
ad on like a computer.
Alright, we're gonna move on. What's your name? Ravetti.
Yep, aye.
And Anubis. Yeah, think about it for a minute. Anubis? You wanna
Adjournment has passed.